Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? This is your man Thatch the Great checking in once again. Let's get straight to it, guys. Tonight, what I want to talk to you fellas about, let's talk about the American heterosexual male. Or moreover, let's talk about how society has constantly, slowly but surely, done everything within its power to completely demasculate the American heterosexual male. Let's be real. In this country, the more traditionally masculine you are, the more problematic it is viewed as a society now. It wasn't always that way. And that's exactly what I want to talk about, right? Because, growing up as a young man, as a boy, there were certain values, there were certain actions, criteria, characteristics that I always viewed as being masculine, as far as being things that make a man, right? I think as we all would agree, at least traditionally speaking, in the 80s, 90s, and if you were born before that, me personally, obviously, I was born in 1985. But I would say all the way up until maybe when did it start getting weird? It started getting weird around the 2010 mark, right? Somewhere around there, where things that are considered traditionally masculine all of a sudden started being viewed as, toxic, or being, improper or problematic. Since when was it problematic for a man to simply be a man? Since when was it problematic for a man to be authoritative, for a man to actually be extremely masculine in the way that he carries himself in his belief system? Since when was it a bad thing for a man to be expected to lead, to provide, to be the one who is actually directing the path as far as the way that the relationship with the woman goes, and also the way that his household is conducted? Since when was it problematic for a man to actually exude these traits? I would say, like I was saying earlier, I think somewhere around that 2010 mark is when things really started getting spooky in this country from a traditional masculinity standpoint. And, growing up, I always thought of the man to be the person who's authoritative. He's the one who's actually directing the path the way his household is ran. He's making the most money, obviously, because in order for a man to truly be respected, whether some people disagree with this or not, in order for a man to truly be respected, he needs to be the breadwinner. If your woman's making more money than you, bro, you're going to have a lot of problems. I don't give a fuck what all the woke people say. It's going to be problematic. If you're a man and you're not bringing the fucking bread home, bro, it's going to be a problem. That's just a fact. A man should be the leader of his household. He should be the one directing the path, directing the steps as far as the way his household is ran. He should have a certain amount of authority over his woman as well. I know some of you feminists out there are going to disagree with that, but it's just a fact. It's just a fact. Not saying that a man should be able to tell a woman absolutely everything that she does, but if she actually respects her man, then she is actually going to be looking to her man for a certain amount of direction and leadership. I mean, who would disagree with that? Well, the new age feminists would, and anybody who's in that woke culture would disagree with that. But we're not talking about woke culture, and that's another thing that I wanted to talk about, because woke culture is a big contributor to the reason that traditional masculinity has fallen so far in America. In America now, whenever a man is actually unapologetically masculine, whenever a man, let's just use myself as a small case study, right? Any man who is actually a muscular guy, a guy who's unapologetic about his views as far as being the leader, as far as being a person who needs to be the one setting the path and leading the way in a relationship. Anybody who has these traditional values and these guidelines and this government as far as the way that they run their life, the way that they govern their life, that's considered toxic masculinity, right? What makes it toxic? That's my question. What makes that toxic? Because we don't want to bend and fold to this pussified view and scope of reality that people have led into over the last, what would you say, 10 to 15 years? We went from a society where the relationships were just undeniably supposed to be led by men to a society where everything is supposed to be on an egalitarian viewpoint, where everything is supposed to be equal. Everything is supposed to be 50-50. Isn't that ironic, though? Everything is supposed to be 50-50 when it comes to decision making until it's actually time to pay for everything. Then all of a sudden, oh, it's the man's job to pay for everything. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that fucking ironic? Everything is so supposed to be, oh, we're partners. We're partners in this relationship. Everything is a partnership until it comes down to get down to brass tacks and talk about who's funding every goddamn thing. Isn't that ironic? Come on, man. It's such a hypocrisy. It's such a hypocrisy. But this is how society has devolved. The men traditionally, I mean, all the way up until, like I said, sometime around maybe 2010, what would y'all say? I say somewhere around that 2010 mark is where things really started getting spooky as far as the American heterosexual male being completely under attack. Everything that we do is wrong. Everything that the traditional heterosexual American man does is looked at as toxic. Oh, you expect to be the sole leader in the relationship? Oh, you're toxic. Oh, you mean because you pay all the bills, you're supposed to have more say in how we do things and what we do? Oh, you toxic. No, bitch, I'm a man. I'm a red-blooded American man. What I say goes. If you don't like it, hit the fucking road. That's just what it is. Man, let me calm down. Hold on. All right, we got some early trolls here. Let me read. I do read the comments, guys, so let me go ahead and read some of the trolls here. Oh, I love it. Hold on. You look like the guy who used to come out on Maury Povich to yell. Oh, this is funny. You look like the guy who used to come out on Maury Povich to yell at the disrespectful husbands in the sweater. Oh, bro, what was his name? Wasn't it D West? I know exactly who you're talking about. It's a shame I'm old enough to actually remember that. But I remember that in the 90s. The dude used to come out in that sweater vest and he used to come out there and say, why are you treating your woman like this? Oh, why are you treating your wife like, man, you got me fucked up. But that was a funny comment. I like it. Let's see. Somebody says, hi, do you have kids? I have a beautiful daughter. Got a beautiful daughter. Got one beautiful daughter. Somebody said crashing out. Man, you know how I get down. I'm not crashing out. I'm just spitting facts, man. Let's get back to the whole point of this video. Let's talk about the fall of traditional masculinity, guys. In my opinion, right? And I'm looking for any opposition. If you disagree, please feel free to join the conversation and let me know. But I feel like, you know, what is it that gives people any footing or any room to say that a man who actually expects to make the money, lead the relationship, be the one who's looked at as a bit of a, you know what I'm saying? Not saying you have to be an absolute dictator in a relationship, but anybody who is actually worth their salt, any man who's worth their salt is going to be viewed upon as the leader in the situation, whether it be as a parent, as a father, whether it be as a husband, a boyfriend. You should be carrying yourself with a certain level of dignity, class, respect for yourself, integrity, honesty, you know, just the way that you carry yourself as a man and all of the works that you're doing in the world, as far as your career, as far as the things that you do in your free time for your community, all the things that you do as a man encompass who you actually are as a human being. And if you are actually doing all the things necessary as a man, then you should absolutely be viewed as a leader. You should be respected. There should be no question as far as what you are. And in turn, with that being said, why wouldn't that man have the authority to dictate how things go in a relationship or in that household? What's toxic about that? We now live in a society where if a man expects to run his household, it's viewed as problematic. Women should have 50-50 say in everything, right? And if that's how you run your household, cool. And I don't want to come across as somebody who's saying that women are just, how should I view it? I'm not saying that women are just, you know, figureheads or just pieces to be moved around like they're on a chessboard. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that in order for a relationship to run the correct way, a man has to be firmly in control of how it's being run. Now, if a woman doesn't like the way or the program that the man has in place, then by all means, she is perfectly free to go elsewhere, find a better suitor, find a more apt candidate for her to actually spend her life with. I get that. And I completely agree with that. If a woman doesn't respect a man's leadership, if she doesn't respect the way that he's running things and the path that he has set in place for them as far as their relationship, as far as where they're going in the future, by all means, that woman should absolutely eject, go find a better mate that she feels can actually lead her to the promised land. I absolutely, vehemently agree with that. Problem is, we have far too many people who well, let's talk about specifically about women. We have far too many women who they stick with these men for so long, right? They stick with these losers for so long, and then when they finally do decide to leave these relationships, not to say that the woman's the hottest thing, the best thing since sliced bread or damn self, not to say that at all. But what I'm saying is that if you know that you can do better, go do better. But once you go find that guy that you think is worth your time, who you think is on your level, since so many women think they're hot shit. So when you go find that guy that you actually feel is checking off all of those boxes that you need to be checking off on a man, he's hitting all the metrics. Once you find that guy, you better believe he's expecting to run the show, top to bottom. You better believe that more than you believe in God, baby. That's just how it is. And with that being said, that mentality that I have in regard to that, that's looked at as extremely toxic. That's considered to be toxic masculinity. What gives you the right to tell me what to do? Just because we in a relationship together, you think you can tell me what to do? Yeah, that's exactly what I think. I mean, it is what it is. Nobody is forcing you to be here. Nobody's forcing you to be here. But if I'm doing everything I need to do as a man, if I have a good career, if I'm making good money, if I'm providing a nice house over our household, a great roof over our head, nice clothes in your back, nice food in the kitchen, everything that you want, if I'm hitting if I'm checking off all the boxes, you better believe a man is going to feel like he has a certain amount of autonomy to run the fucking show. I think that's just logical. I don't think that's sexist. I don't think that's chauvinistic. I don't think that, and that's damn sure not misogynistic. That's a word that people use so incorrectly in society. People love calling someone a misogynist. Do y'all understand what a misogynist is? People always say that any man who is speaking his mind freely about the intersectional dynamics between men and women, and whoever has it as the man as far as being the undisputed leader in the relationship, they always call that, oh, he's a misogynist. You're misogynistic. No, bitch, I am a traditional American man. I don't know. People, it's funny how people like to claim that they support, a traditional nuclear family. They love to support it until it doesn't operate in their favor, right? The traditional nuclear American family, right? It's one man, one woman. That's right. One man, one woman. Not a man and a man, not a woman and a woman. One man, one woman, and was it 2.3 kids, something of that nature? I believe that's what the traditional nuclear American family is considered to be, right? Am I gonna get this is probably gonna get red listed on YouTube. I don't give a fuck. And once again, wait a minute. Hold on. I think I missed a comment here. Let me stop for 1 second. I do read most of the comments. All right. It was our money the whole time. Then she got a payout. And when she got upset, she said, I spent her money. Oh, you are bringing up such a fucking point. This is a point that I have myself, verbalized many times. Isn't it ironic how, a man is supposed to go bust his ass day in, day out, bring home the bacon, bring home the bread for the household, or even if it's just him and his lady, right? Even if they don't have kids in the mix, a man is supposed to go put his fucking body on the line every fucking day, make all this money, and then somehow, even though I'm making all the money, I'm supposed to have this community mindset when it comes to bringing it home. Everything that I go and make is ours. However, if said woman in this particular dynamic, in this relationship, if she goes and she starts doing some stuff on the side, who knows what she's doing, selling pictures of her goddamn feet or sending dirty draws to these degenerates online asking for dirty draws, paying $200 for a pair of dirty draws so they can sniff. All these nasty degenerates doing all kinds of weird shit, paying money. Let's say she has some side hustle she tells me nothing about, right? This would never be a woman that I would deal with, but just speaking hypothetically here, let's say this happens, right? And let's say she's getting tons of money on the side. In that woman's mind, this is just the way the majority of women think, majority of modern women in society think. They think that even though this guy is actually doing everything the honest way, making money for us, even though I'm making all this money on the side here, this is just my play money. Oh, this is just for my money to play with. He don't need to know nothing about that. You know, he's the breadwinner. I'm just making a little bit of money on the side. He don't need to know nothing about that. Selfish. It's so selfish. And then here's the funny part about it. They expect that man to be absolutely cool with that. Even though he's doing everything the right way. He's coming home busting it down with his old lady. And yet she can go make all this money on the side. Or let's say it's a negligible amount of money. Let's say she's making an extra $500 to a stack per month on the side, just in her spare time. But she tells her man nothing about it. Is that okay? Society, woke society that we live in now would like the man to believe that is simply okay. Whatever she makes is hers. Whatever I make is ours. What kind of bullshit is that? What kind of fuck shit is that? And they want us to just swallow that pill just without even questioning it. That's bullshit, man. Once again, a traditional American heterosexual man would not allow that. But we live in a society where, let's just keep it a stack, man. We live in a society where they want the woman to be able to walk all over the man with absolutely no consequence and to be able to do it with impunity. Why? Why is the man in this country? Why have we been handcuffed so much that they don't want us to be able to do anything? They don't want us to be able to speak freely about how we really feel. They don't want us to be able to put our foot down and be traditional men. No, they want us to, not only do they want us to be completely passive when it comes to allowing our women to have so much liberation as far as just being able to go out and do everything that they want, be able to go online and just show off their bodies, with no consequence, like that's supposed to be okay. Oh, as long as I'm coming home to you, what difference does it make if I'm showing my ass? Bitch! Man, hold on, man. All right. It's a crazy world out here, people. That's all I'm saying. It's a crazy world. They want, we've given, gosh, I don't want this to come across sounding the wrong way. Let me think. Hold on. Women should absolutely have all the rights, right? They should have rights. I've seen some people claiming that they don't feel like women should even have the right to vote anymore. That's crazy. Like, but when it comes to autonomy, when it comes to who has the right to do any and everything that they want, let's talk about the confines of a relationship. Let's talk about within the confines of a committed relationship. Should a woman be able to just go do any and everything that she wants within the confines of a relationship, as long as she's not physically cheating on the man? No, because as we all know as men, cheating constitutes far more than just physical action. If a woman is doing all this stuff where she's showing pictures of her body that is supposed to be her man's, she's showing pictures of her ass, she's selling pictures of her feet, she's, like I alluded to earlier, she's doing all kinds of perverse things behind the scenes to make money, extra stacks of money, and yet she tells her man nothing about it. That is cheating. That's cheating. And I know I'm going off on a completely different tangent, but it needs to be said because I feel like there's so many loopholes in place that give women the right of way to do all kinds of fuck shit behind the scenes. But we as men are expected to somehow just continue on that straight, narrow path and just do all the things that we're supposed to do as traditional men. Nah, baby, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. I'm sorry, mama. It don't work like that. Not in this household. Not in this one. Let's see. Hold on one second. Let me see. We got what you say? Is that how your name's pronounced? What you say? Facts. I was told I don't open up enough. The minute I spoke my mind, she wanted me out the house. The double standards and violations of our traditional values made me chuck the deuces. It's crazy. And you know what empowered her to have that mentality, bro. What empowered her to have that mindset is the way that society has conditioned women to be over the last, like I was saying, I would say over the last decade to 15 years. This is just a huge shift I've seen, and they call it a liberation. They call it the female revolution. But really, let's keep it a stack. All it is, if we're talking about the liberation and revolution, all it has done is empower women to be thoughts and to monetize their thoughtness. That's all it has done. It has empowered women to say, you know what? I don't need a man. I don't need a man. I can get more money than my man can, and I can do maybe a quarter of the work, and I can make far more, because that's what our extremely diluted, perverse society has made women think. And the fact is, it's true. At least it was. OnlyFans is kind of drying up for the most part, but at one point, even the most mediocre bitch could go on OnlyFans and make crazy money. Now, you know, they, especially with AI shit, it's getting hard out here for these bitches. I ain't gonna stunt. It's getting hard out here for these bitches. Now the AI, you got Sora, you got VO, you got people making AI bots and all these AI accounts that are out doing the OnlyFans bitches. So now they having a hard time. It's gonna be a long day for some of you OF hoes. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now, in case you haven't already come to that conclusion. It's about to get real out here for y'all with this new onset of even more AI applications that are constantly coming to market. Anyways, back to what you were saying, bro. That's what has given women that mindset. The fact that they have liberated them so much to the point of them saying, you know what, I don't need a man. You know, even though men built the infrastructure for the society that we live in, and every damn thing for the most part that they use on a day-to-day basis, even though men are responsible for all these things, women come to that conclusion as far as the money aspect is concerned. You know what? I don't need a man. Yeah, you know, I would prefer to have that traditional man to lead me and to, you know, be that masculine figure in my life until he actually starts laying down boundaries that I have to abide by. And then when that comes into the whole horizon, all of a sudden they don't want the man no more. They don't need man anymore all of a sudden. Isn't that funny? Once a woman is actually held accountable and actually given a certain boundary to work within as far as the parameters to what this relationship is going to be, once I say, nah, bitch, you're not going to be doing any more of that posting on IG. No, you're not going to the club with your homegirls. Bitch, fuck no, you're not going to Atlanta for a girls trip. Are you out your goddamn mind? Are you out your mind, bitch? You're not going on any of these trips. Once I put my foot down as a man, then all of a sudden, oh, you know, you're toxic. You're kind of controlling. I don't know. What's going on? You must be insecure. No, I'm not insecure. And in fact, I am so secure. I am so secure in who I am that I will tell you that you can get with the fucking program or you can kick rocks. That's how secure I am. That's how secure this nigga right here is. Oh man, they say I get on here and I crash out. I mean, I feel like I'm just keeping it a stack, but I don't know. Anyways, man, you know what else I wanted to talk about? And this is extremely important, man. Let's talk about how, once again, in the same tangent, in the same token, as far as the overall topic of this video, which is the demasculation of the heterosexual American man. They want us to feel. Do y'all remember? I know I'm all over the place like bird shit, but do y'all remember in the 90s when it was still like looked at as extremely taboo for certain things to be on television, as far as like commercials, as far as even television programming, right? Let's talk about the alphabet people. The alphabet people, y'all know what I'm talking about. LGBTQIA plus 13 divided by 3, whatever the fuck. They're going to be in the numbers sooner or later. So let's talk about the alphabet people, right? Y'all remember when it was like unheard of to think of seeing a commercial where you just got two burly dudes tonguing each other down? Y'all remember when that was just like that was like, you couldn't even imagine seeing that on TV. Now they're just forcing it on you. Every time you turn on the goddamn TV, how many HIV drug commercials are y'all gonna show me? How many? Huh? How many? I don't want to see these ugly motherfuckers tonguing each other down, holding hands, walking. And I'm supposed to just think this shit is cool. And even worse, y'all are pushing this on our youth as well. And y'all don't think there's anything wrong with that. Y'all want everybody to just be accepting of every little thing. Why do we have to be accepting? For what? Why do I have to accept that? And then they're trying to push the trans. Then they're trying to push this trans life on kids. Y'all heard about some schools having trans people come and do drag shows? They're doing this in schools? In elementary schools? Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like, if you never voice your opinion, if you never raise your voice and let the world know how you really feel about the fuck shit going on around you, people are just going to push anything on you. And that's why we as the people have got to make sure that our voices are heard. This shit is not okay. And I have nothing against gay people. I want to make that clear. What I am saying is that it went from being something that was looked at as taboo or an alternative lifestyle. Now they're making it where not only is obviously the LGBT community runs so much of the programming that we see, but now they're trying to push it as if that is the preferred lifestyle. Huh? What? And if I got a problem with it, or even if I say, man, I don't get down like that, then they look at you like you crazy. You like you the one with the fucking problem. I'm the one with the problem for understanding that it only makes sense for me to be in a relationship and to actually be with a woman, because only naturally speaking, a man and a woman can actually reproduce the natural way. Last I checked, 2 dudes can't lie down and make a baby. Last I checked, 2 women cannot lie down and make a baby. Last I checked, it takes a man and a woman to produce a child. Oh, my bad. I'm just speaking too logically. That just makes too much sense, I suppose. Makes too much sense, I suppose. But then again, the fact that I bring up simple biology, I'm looked at, once again, as being a toxic, masculine man. Since when did reality become toxic? When did simply telling the truth and operating in reality become toxic in this country? I really would like somebody to give me an answer to that. Let me know. Am I lost here? Am I lost for thinking that it only makes sense that we look at as far as what the preferred, or what the, let's just call it 1A. 1A. The 1A category when it comes to a relationship should always be man, woman, because that only makes biological sense. How are we going to repopulate the fucking planet if we got Adam laying with Steve and we got Lauren laying down with Lindsay? How? You tell me. How? It can't happen. It just defeats biology, guys. This is not bigot talk. This is not anti-LGBTQIA plus whatever the fuck the other letters are. This is not anti that. This is simply a heterosexual American man operating in reality and talking about simple biology. Oh, but they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that, right? They're going to say that, now they're going to say I'm homophobic for simply spitting simple facts. Now I'm homophobic. That's another thing. And once again, this all goes hand in hand with the next thing, right? Being considered toxically masculine just for wanting to be a traditional male in this country. You're already being considered a toxic man for having certain beliefs in the way that the relationship should run. You already have this moniker that they're putting on you as being, toxically masculine. If you expect to actually be the leader in the relationship with your woman, if you don't expect to be going 50-50 and having 50-50 say on every little thing in a relationship, that's already considered misogynistic and you're a chauvinist. Oh, and no, you don't respect women. No, I respect them plenty. I respect women plenty, but you also got to understand that all women are not the same. You got to know how to differentiate between the hoes, the sluts, the thots, the ones that are on that fringe and the ones that are actually ladies. I treat ladies like ladies. I treat the hoes like the hoes. Let's keep it a stat. You can't treat all these bitches the same. Are you crazy? Huh? Oh, man. Oh man, I like this. I'm just talking some facts tonight. I like this. I like this. Um, okay. There's another thing I wanted to talk about, guys. This goes hand in hand with that woman revolution that I said started sparking all big time around 2010. Have y'all noticed that this is more so over the last 5 years or so? Y'all noticed that whenever men, and I think my man spoke about that earlier, he touched on that earlier in that comment where he said once he started speaking his mind, then the woman wanted him out the house. Here's the thing. Nowadays, whenever men stand up for themselves when it comes to women, why is it that anytime a man has a differing point of view or something that contrasts with whatever the woman's saying, if the man is actually strong and assertive in his point of view, why do they call the men sassy? Have y'all been seeing that? Any man that actually speaks up for himself, any man that actually has a strong point of view, contrary to the bullshit that the woman might be saying in a given scenario, all of a sudden, he's sassy. Oh, I don't like men that argue with women. You sassy. So what we supposed to do? Just sit there and let you spew bullshit out your mouth? Well, I'm supposed to just sit here and take this absolute fuck shit coming out your mouth. I'm supposed to just sit there and say, oh, yeah, that sounds cool. No. If it sounds dumb, then I'm going to let you know that what you're saying is absolutely idiotic. And I'm going to check you. And then I'm going to give you some real talk to get your life together. That's not sassy. That is a man being a man. Because clearly, you need some leadership. You need a little bit of guidance. So why is it considered sassy? It's always considered sassy if a man speaks his mind, tells you that what you're saying is a load of shit, and then they actually give you logic in contrast to what you're saying, which is generally, if you're a woman, no offense, but if we're speaking about women, generally speaking, 95% of the things that they're saying comes from an emotional standpoint. Men, on the other hand, generally, those of us that are actual masculine men, we generally operate off of logic. Feelings just don't come into the fray when it comes to men. We operate off of what makes sense logically. Women operate off of emotion. Men, logic. So when you're done spewing all of that bullshit and all of that idiotic rhetoric out of your mouth, we, like the men we are, the masculine men we are, we check y'all. We get y'all on point. And then we give you some logic to get your fucking mind right. And yet y'all got the nerve to call that sassy. Oh, society we live in today is ass backwards, man. What can I say? And that's really just where I'm going to leave it, man. I just wanted to spark a few interesting conversations, man. I know I've been ranting and raving, but you cannot deny the logic in everything that I've stated thus far. You know, the straight American man is under attack. Any qualities, any criteria, any characteristics that generally for ages that have been associated with the straight American man, now all of those things are considered problematic. They don't want you to be but so confident in yourself. They don't want you to be but so hard-edged and so muscular. They don't want you to be traditionally masculine. No, now they want you to be a little bit of an androgynous amoeba when it comes to how you present yourself as a man in society, even if you're straight. They want everybody to walk around here looking like goddamn, man. They want everybody to walk around looking like goddamn Prince. Oh, everybody to just be like, they want you to have to wonder at every single man. They want you to have to actually look at a man and wonder, is he straight or is he gay? That's how they want men to carry themselves. They want everybody to be sexually ambiguous. They want you to have to, they say, oh, well, he's hyper masculine. They call men that I suppose in my archetype, right? Let's say somebody who takes really good care of themselves, works out a lot, anybody who has muscles, anybody who speaks with a certain amount of confidence in the way that they carry themselves, the way that their diction, they're articulate, they know how to deliver their thoughts and their feelings clearly. They would call somebody like me, oh, he's hyper masculine. And they usually say the hyper masculinity goes hand in hand with some kind of insecurity, right? They say, oh, well, he's so masculine that he must be insecure in some other parts of his life. No, quite the contrary. Quite the contrary. I feel like any men that are completely confident in themselves any man that has done the work, any man that gives off that air of hyper masculinity, I don't think they have any reason to be insecure at any parts of their life. For what? What is there to be insecure about? Quite the contrary. Me, I can only speak for me. I guess in regards to me, nothing could be further from the truth. I am absolutely 100% secure and confident in who I am, because I just I don't put on a facade for the world. I take pride in being who I actually am every single day. I mean, shit, even if we're talking about just, my content that I make here, when I just get on here like right now and just speak my mind. If you go back to my first video, which I haven't been doing this very long, maybe 2.5 years, you go back to the very first video, right? I think you're going to see an extremely consistent narrative and an extremely consistent display of how I am, how I think. Although the subject matter changes that I speak about, the way that I carry myself and my actual thoughts, my mindset, it stays very consistent throughout, because this is who I am. I don't have to put on a facade for the world. It's so easy being myself. It's easy being me. It's hard as hell trying to be somebody else. Why would you? Just be yourself, Anyways, I just find it funny that all right, before I go, and this is a question, I know nobody's going to answer this right now, but answer this for me. Just getting back to that LGBTQ conversation. Answer this for me. Why is it that whenever someone simply says, for instance, I don't want to see all that gay shit on my TV? Remember that when that was a problem with that show Empire? The first season was actually kind of cool. It revolved around, I want to say, what's the guy's name? Lucius Lyon, something of that nature. He had one son that was gay. As far as that dynamic, there was nothing wrong with that, because that's just life. That's reality. There are going to be gay people in your family somewhere down the line, right? Cool. But then in season 2, they completely made the whole show revolve around this guy's sexuality. And then they made it so gay. They made the whole show, this became one big gay show. Why? Why do they feel the need to push that gay agenda on all of us so harshly? We understand that there's lots of gay people in this world. We understand it. It's just a fact of life. But why does society, or should I say, why do the powers that be feel the need to push that gay agenda so heavily upon the masses? It used to be subtle, like I said, but around 2010 and beyond, they have put it into overdrive. And now you cannot turn on your TV without homosexuality just being forced upon you. Seeing all the shit that I don't want to see. I don't want to see 2 or 3 HIV commercials with these gay ass dudes on it every time I turn on the TV. I don't want to see it. Nothing against that if that's the way, nothing against you if that's the way you live your life. But this is not what I want to see. And I damn sure don't want this being pushed on my child. You feel me? It's just crazy. And then by having this mindset, by having this opinion as a heterosexual man in America, just by having this firm opinion that I don't want to see that shit, somehow that makes me toxic. How dumb does that sound? Just because I have voiced my opinion about what I don't want to see, it makes me toxic and it makes me homophobic. Do you all understand that a phobia means that you are vehemently scared of something? I'm not scared of these gay motherfuckers. I just don't want to see this shit on my TV. I don't want this shit to be forced on me or my family. Is that too much to ask? I'm not scared of anything. I'm not homophobic. I'm not scared of homosexual people. I'm simply tired of this gay agenda being pushed on me every single time I turn on my TV. Can you understand that? Does that make me toxic? Is that toxic masculinity? Or is that just an American heterosexual man laying down the law and telling you what the fuck he does not want to see in his programming? I think it's the latter. But you feel free to let me know what you think. And I'm going to just leave it right there, y'all. I hope that I have sparked some interesting thoughts in your head. I want you to think about the things that I said in this video. And please feel free to join the conversation. You can do that, obviously, by leaving a comment. And as always, If you found any value in all the things that I spoke about in this video, please do like this video and subscribe. As always, this is your man Thatch the Great. Y'all be easy, but also be dangerous. I holla. Peace.